Welcome back to the Entrepreneurial Blueprint. Today we have Sally Facinelli. Sally, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Lester, how's it going?
Doing well, doing well. Thanks for joining us today, Sally.
Anytime.
Yeah, so I think I could give you the introduction, Sally, but I think it's best if you just tell us about yourself and your company, and we'll go from there.
Okay. So, as you know, I'm Sally Facinelli. I've been in franchising for 28 years. All sides of franchising. I can give you a little bit about that background later if you would like. But I'm currently the CEO of Salty Dawg Pet Salon and Bakery. We are a brick and mortar pet grooming salon that also has cookies and treats and all kinds of retail fun items in our bakeries.
That's awesome. So, how did you get into the franchising business? Yeah, that's it's funny 'cause not a lot of people envision themselves getting into franchising when they, got into the professional world. But here we are. Yeah, we're all in the same boat here. But tell us a little bit about how you got into franchising.
Yeah, so funnily enough, most people fall in, like you're saying, most people fall into franchising once. Well, no, I had to do it twice. I had to be extra special and do it twice. So the first time I got into franchising, I was like, I think 20, maybe. I might not have, I think I was 20. Anyways, I was working for a company in the US. They were not franchised in the US. I moved over to England to open up their British, French, and German offices. There were master locations. So that was my first introduction to franchising. And when I moved back to the States, they didn't have any positions that I wanted. So I fell into franchising again. I wasn't actually looking to work for a franchise or anything like that. I just went back out on the job market and I fell into a company called Aussie Pet Mobile. And at the time, they had 13 open locations. And by the time I left, we had sold uh, 500 locations in 5 countries.
Wow,
Not all open, but yeah, pretty
wow.
crazy. It was quite a ride, and then I fell into. I love franchising so much I just couldn't leave it. So here I am, 28 years later.
So
Yeah,
it started. Go ahead,
I'm going to
Lester.
jump in there too. I mean, just falling into franchising, it just gets you so like when you think about franchising, you think about like again, I always go back to McDonald's and Chipotle and all that stuff, and we know what it is. But when you start to peel that onion back and really uncover how much opportunity there is to grow, you just get infatuated with it. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if I'm ever going to get out of it from here because it's such a great business strategy. And I mean, I just love talking about business and helping people grow so much that then it kind of gets addictive. And then as you're finding that success and more success, and it's just like, wow, I'm glad I fell into it. But I think one of the trends that I'm seeing, I don't know about you, Sally, but there are folks today that are purchasing franchises and getting those businesses kind of up and running to pass on to their children, just in case they don't want to take the route and going to college, right? So it's almost like a fail safe, but what a great opportunity to jump into a business that's running and all that kind of good stuff. So I'm glad I fell into it, but I think it's starting to become more and more popular around the country as far as a business strategy concerned. You just got to align yourself with the right opportunities.
Yeah, I've actually seen two things there with that is like a lot of the younger generation, like you saying, they're not actually going to college. They're getting into some other form of a career, right? And franchising is a great way for them to do it. Another thing I've also noticed is a very large percentage of people that I know in franchising that have been around for, decades, their children are getting in. And it's so amazing to see all the younger generation. They're getting in and just kicking butt. They're doing really well. So it's interesting to watch that trend.
Yeah.
What One of the cool things that I'm seeing, especially this isn't your first go around in the pet industry, the animal industry, and what I find cool is what franchising does for people. It gives them the opportunity to follow a passion that they really believe and love.
Mhm.
If you love animals and you want to open up a pet shop, whether it's pet salon and bakery or whether it's a whatever it may be, getting into a franchise, an established franchise, gives you that opportunity. We love at CR3. It's a lot of times the the partners that we have come in, they love construction. They love the exterior remodeling industry. It just so happens they need a little bit of help with some partners, strategic partners,
Mm-hmm.
that now, we're giving them the opportunity to do that. So the fact that people have a passion and really love an industry, franchising gives them that opportunity to get into it.
And takes out we try all the stuff first. You have all the connections to, like you were saying, the strategic partners, the vendors, all of that. Plus, we've tried a lot of things and kind of weeded out what doesn't work. So now they have a plug and play business to jumpstart them right away, which is great.
Exactly. The R&D is already done. And that sometimes just gets, well, we call it R&D, but you're spending millions of dollars on systems and processes and figuring it all out to be able to offer a business in a box, essentially, where they could just plug and play and start moving. Yeah, this is it's a fun time to be in the industry, and I mean the pet space is really starting to take off. I mean, I know Loyalty Brands, which is our parent company, and how this all kind of works together, is really starting to find some success with that industry. Tell me what kind of your vision is, your mission is, and what you're looking to accomplish, I guess, in the next stage of your growth.
So specifically for Salty Dawg, well, in general, I mean, my growth in general is to grow businesses and grow people and culture. All of that is really important. I think that you can grow your business or you can be focused on business and all that, but without any of that, it's a moot point. So people are the most important. I'm constantly bettering myself, bettering my brand, bettering, everything, bettering just me as a human being, right? As when it comes to Salty Dawg, we are an emerging brand. We've only got 2 open locations, and we've got a few more sold and a whole bunch activity happening in 2025. So we're really excited about that. But I really want to give an opportunity for people that want to be in business for themselves, who love pets, to have a business that's tried and true and to really enjoy their life, to get involved in their local communities. That is to me, another place that is really important. Every business should be involved in their local community. Mm-hmm. And if you can do that and give back a little to the local community, it also helps their business grow. Obviously, you're not doing it just to grow your business or, either way, but it helps both sides. And if I can do that and then also humanize the pet experience, which is what Salty Dawg is all about, mm-hmm. I think, we're going to grow very fast. I think a lot of people will get on board with our vision.
Well, it's cool too, because the pet industry, it's one of those industries that's never going to go away. Everybody, I mean, for thousands of years, people have had dogs and cats. Mm-hmm. I could never imagine my life without a dog. And it's something that people can bond over in a community. Like you said, small neighborhoods, you move to a new neighborhood and you have a dog. Well, you automatically have friends that you can make because you walk around the neighborhood. Mm-hmm. Your neighbor has a dog, your neighbor's neighbor has a dog, and everybody's walking together and petting each other's dogs and letting the dogs play with each other. So it's a cool vision when you have an industry that really is never going to get weeded out. Even if you have the pet smarts and whatnot, there's something about dogs that bring a special connection to a community.
Definitely.
Yeah.
What's interesting is over the last, I know everybody talks about the COVID years and everything, but usually during times like that, people start having more kids. They didn't do that this time. They started having dogs. They went out and got even more dogs, and all those shelters and stuff ran out of dogs. Amazing. And cats too. Let's not be, specific just to dogs. I have a cat personally. I love dogs, but I travel way too much, so I have to have a cat.
Right. So tell us a little bit about, because obviously you've dealt with thousands of business owners in your career. What is something that you've seen, some lessons you've taken away from working with business owners that may be, a trend that you've seen throughout? Obviously, we've had technology booms, we've had Amazon's grown, we've had things are easier now than they were 30 years ago, but there's just some principles that never change. What are some things you see with business owners that just have never changed that you would tell maybe the audience that's listening, or you would tell, new business owners? Like, what are some principles that you think are vital to owning your own business?
I think the first and foremost is going to be your people. and then your processes. People and processes are, definitely the most important part of your business. Follow the process. If you're a franchisee, follow the franchisor's process. Nobody does. Most people follow, if we're lucky, most of it, and they'll be successful. So follow the processes that are already tried and true and that are created for you. You'll be successful that way. That's the best way. And then, of course, really important is focusing on your people and your culture and making sure you have a really good culture. That's what's going to keep your employees, because your people, your staff, your employees, your customers, all of those people, that's what makes your business go forward. And without them, you don't have a business. So.
Correct.
Yeah, it's funny. Lester always says, and I always bring this up through a lot of different podcasts. Lester doesn't just let anybody join the CR3 franchise, right? He has to believe in the person. He has to believe in the person and the people that they want to bring on, because there's a great book I read. It's Good to Great. It's basically about why do some companies succeed and others don't. And one of the things they found was, regardless of the position of the employee, what matters most is, do they believe in the person? Because if you believe in the person and that employee really has that special niche that you're looking at, that's something that intangible that you're looking at, you can train them for any other position. But you have to believe in those employees, right? You have people coming out of college who had a 4.0 GPA, who were the top of their class, but they have no social skills.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're only going to succeed at one thing. But you have other people who never went to college, right? They may have not even graduated high school, but they understand what it's like to interact with the world. And so sometimes finding the right people is what's going to help your company succeed. And I'm learning that a lot, especially with being a part of CR3, that there's just some people that understand what it takes to be successful in the world, especially interacting with their customers, with their vendors, even with just the community. Even if they're not buying your product, just interacting with the community is what takes your company from this book, from good to great.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Relationships are the most important, resource you have, is your relationship.
Yep. And then create that customer for life, that customer experience, and creating that customer for life that just is very comfortable with coming back because they know they're getting a good product, good service, is so key and so vital. Having another franchisor on the call, for the audience, how would you put it for, I guess, the franchisor, like what your role is to the franchisee, and then we'll reverse that, and what the role is from the franchisor, or the franchisee to the franchisor. Sorry.
So first, the franchisor.
Yeah.
So my role as the franchisor is to, really to give them, to try out already, trying out the processes and the systems, getting the vendors in place and those relationships already in place. And then how I interact with my franchisees is, I give them the blueprint. I give them the roadmap to follow, right? Their role is they need to follow that roadmap. They've got to do it. They've got to actually, follow our guidance that it has shown that it works. And if they do that, that's when they become successful. Also, going back to what Matthew said is, really, and you, Lester, as well, connecting with their community, creating those relationships and building that trust. That's something I can't do for them. They have to do that.
They wake up and go to sleep in their local market. There's no one that's going to understand that market more than themselves. Some things that I see when I'm evaluating a strategic partner that's interested in us, they're like, oh, well, okay, I'm going to come aboard your franchise and you're going to do all this stuff for me. Is that a misconception? Is that
Yes.
How do you feel about that? Is that making you feel like that's the right person for Salty Dawg, that's really going to take that to the next level? Like, I have to do everything for you. Speak on that a little bit in your experience.
Yeah. So I do think that the answer is no, that is not the right person for me or our brand or most other brands as well. I think there are a grouping of people that think that if they buy a franchise, everything is done for them. That's not how it works. That you're not buying somebody else doing your job for you. You are buying proven systems and processes, branding, marketing, those types of things, and then you're deploying it in your local market. If you think that somebody's going to do everything for you, then I would recommend probably going and doing some self evaluation as the person, and really seeing, okay, what is that I really do want and need in life? And it's not buying a franchise. If they are open to learning and, again, following the systems and processes and growing and all of that good stuff, then they can become a franchisee. But we don't want the people that think I'm going to do it for them. Yeah.
Yep. Not going to work that way for either party. So we can part ways here and stop the discussion.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I see that time after time. And every conversation you got to go through that, through those hurdles and through those questions to really dig deep to see if that's the right fit for your brand. Because again, franchising, strategic business strategy. And if that franchisee can't take the ball and run with it, no one's going to win. So we don't have that time to waste.
Yeah. Especially we've had some of our strategic partners we've had on our podcast, and what we're learning, what makes them so great is they're still making the tough decisions about their own business, right? We're just CR3, the actual corporate, is just a partner to help them with the minor things that they may need help with. We had Brad Strawbridge, who is the Atlanta strategic partner. His company's down in Atlanta, and he was telling us he donated 2 roofs last year, and that's not a cheap donation. And roofs are expensive, and that's not CR3 corporate telling him to do that. That's him making his own decision, right? That's his revenue that he's not going to make just donating a roof. That's out of his pocket. But when you look at that from a corporate side, you're saying this guy knows what it takes to be successful. That's a tough decision you got to make. That's his revenue, and so those are the types of people we like to see joining the franchise. The franchise team, the franchise family. So, I think it's as you guys are pointing out, that's extremely important. They still got to make those tough decisions, right? You're just there as support, right? They need some help. You're there, but the tough decisions they still got to make.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Sally, tell us a little bit about what's to be expected in the future. What's your plan? What's your it seems like you're going pretty fast, and it seems like you're just really killing it right now. So what's your plan for the next year, next 5 years? Where do you see Salty Dawg going?
Well, as far as number of units, we'd like to have sold this year about 12 single units and 30 AR units. So that's significant growth. And what I would say is our first real year of going to market. People that know Salty Dawg a little bit about us in the past, the last year we had a founder die, so we kind of put a pause on selling franchises for a while. Now joined with loyalty brands with you guys. So this next year, 2025, 12 units sold, 30 AR units sold. And then 2026 is where I really see things starting to really launch, because it takes a while with your brick and mortar. It does take a few months to find the location and open up, do the construction, all of that good stuff. So 2026 is where we see the hockey stick starting to really launch. And at that point, I would expect at least double what we did this year.
Yeah. Well, Sally, I'm going to do something I've never done on a podcast. I'm going to bring my dog on, which is why I believe in your brand so much, is because
look, it's so cute.
Guys like this, right? I love my dog to death. And when we get a company that wants to who really cares about our pets, right? And shows, like, obviously you care about the pets. That's why you're doing it. And you want people to come in through a community and something they believe in, right? I want the best for my little guy. And that's why I'm really excited to see where you're going to be able to take this company, and that we're going to have the opportunity, hopefully it's this year, having a Salty Dawg in my community, because I'm tired of taking it to the big corporate conglomerates. I want to take it to a small community shop like Salty Dawg.
Yeah, you'd be lucky to take it to a Salty Dawg. It's pretty cool. Like, in a normal grooming location, they take your dog in the back room. You don't see what's happening to your baby. You leave for a few hours. I mean, your dog is a little quicker to bathe and clean, but some of the dogs take a bit longer. And then you come back and your dog's all stressed out, and you're like, what is your dog's name?
Rambo.
Rambo, that's cute. Okay, so why is Rambo all stressed out? You know, he should be happy. He just got pampered, and no, they didn't get pampered. He got all stressed out by being held down and scrubbed in as quickly as possible. At a Salty Dog, that does not happen. You actually see what's happening at all times because there's a glass wall on the side, and you literally see what is happening. You know, at any minute if you're in the store. If you're not, then you can't see, obviously. But and then then they get little treats that are all human grade treats, and all kinds of fun bakery items. So yeah, hopefully we'll be in a market near you soon.
Oh, I hope so too. Good. Well, Sally, we appreciate you taking the time to come on. I'm sure our listeners are gonna really enjoy this. Can you tell us where we may find you, your website, your social media that our listeners can find you at?
So you can find us at saltydawg.com. And then myself, if you just look up my name on LinkedIn or Instagram, you can find me there as well. And then Salty Dawg is on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, a few other places.
Yep.
Yeah, well, we'd love to have you back on in a few months to see where you're at and to get some more wisdom from you and your experiences running some franchises.
Awesome. I'd love that.